DVD for all the New Zealanders or whoever I end up actually sending this to. Anyway, welcome to Chicago. It's bloody cold. Yes, it's welcome to a white Christmas in Chicago. It's about 3 weeks away now, so it's cold, and we've just gone through about the second or third snowstorm of the winter. As you can kind of see, we've got a bit of snow. Behind me is the Museum of Science and Industry. It was built here in about the 1800s for the World's Exposition. And it's been remaining here ever since. It's one of the few major huge stone buildings in Chicago that were built prior to the Chicago fire. Anyway, so this is one of the most landmarks of Chicago. So I thought for the welcome to my DVD of Welcome to Chicago, this would be a great place to take the shot. So enjoy the snow. I know it's really warm in New Zealand right now. I'm just thinking about 30 degrees Celsius and like freezing my toes off. So welcome to my DVD. I hope you guys really enjoy it. Okay.
Okay, so this is my narration track, which will be the rest of the way through here. So this is my bedroom. Yeah, as you can kind of see, it's a corner unit. Yeah, it's not a huge bedroom, but it's great. I so miss my Queen Plus size bed because that's a really small little double. Yeah, finally I managed to put my diplomas up on the wall. How about that? Books, yeah, lots of books. You should see what I have in my office, which you will later. Oh, here we go. Mickey, still 27 years later. And there's the kiwi you gave me, Megan. Okay, so we're now in the main area in the lounge. All the windows are south-facing, lets in a ton of light. Yes, that's IKEA furniture. Aren't the hardwood floors gorgeous? Yeah, they're dark stained hardwood floors. This is an alcove, and my roommate's bedroom is down the corner there. I won't go into it, but she normally keeps a lot of her stuff there. Through there's also the bathroom, but you guys don't need to see that. This brick wall there was one of the things that sold me on the apartment the first time I walked in. It's absolutely gorgeous. Doesn't come out so well on the video, but yeah. Anyway, this is our TV. I wired it up to receive high definition broadcast because here in the States they broadcast HD on network over the air, just like basically it does, as well as getting basic cable. Okay, so that's the main front entrance. The door is just in through that alcove there. And this is swiveling around so you can just see the entrance to the kitchen. However, yeah, this is my little kitty. This is Serendipity, otherwise known as Siri, because serendipity is just way too many syllables. Anyway, so that gives you an idea. That's what she looks like. Oh, and yeah, so this is the kitchen itself, covered in appliances. My toaster oven, of course, and an espresso maker. Oh, by the way, whoever invented white countertops needs to be shot. Oh, and this is an interesting American thing. They always generally have two sinks, and so you buy dish racks that fit within the sink. It's like, we don't have that in New Zealand because we have one sink. It's just really interesting. Okay, so this is the pantry. Oh, Mum, and you'll really like this. Virtually all the stoves in America, well, at least in Chicago anyway, run on gas. I mean, it's only some of the really pathetic ones, and everyone hates them when they're running on electricity. So, yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm now going to go out onto the porch, which is in the back of our apartment. Unfortunately, when I walked out here, I didn't actually quite realize that the light bulb had just blown. And so, as you can kind of see, it's a tad dark. I'm just realizing this as I'm walking out onto the back porch now. You never check this till the last moment. But anyway, this back porch is brand new. They just built it. It's absolutely gorgeous, and it's all wood. And if you're going to have to take my word for it, it just looks great, gorgeous during the daytime. Okay, so this is a reverse shot looking the opposite way from when I walked in through just before. Gives you a basic idea. That's my roommate's jewellery desk. She's an art therapy student, so that's what she does. Okay, so this is outside. That's my apartment building there, and the big yellow one, with my apartment being the second floor middle section, just passing out of sight now. My bedroom's the one on the corner. By the way, it's so cold here. The morning when I took this, it was about 9 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about it's like minus 12 Celsius, and with the wind chill about minus 4 Fahrenheit, which is about minus 20 Celsius. The entire all these footage, by the way, is taken below freezing, just so you have an idea. It's that cold. Anyway, so this is my, like, pretty much outside my apartment. It's a combination of duplexes and apartment buildings, basically. So this is the main drag in my neighborhood. It's every single neighborhood in Chicago has one of these, and it's like the old town centers for as the towns got absorbed by Chicago. So it's a bunch of eclectic restaurants and stuff. There's my Starbucks where I spend way too much time doing work, and it's a combination of like really old shops that have been here for a number of years. This is looking north up the street, by the way, and chain stores and that kind of stuff, although they're trying to prevent chain stores moving in to keep the flavor of the neighborhood. And here I'm just about to actually be hit by a car. I turn around and then suddenly there's this car appearing and I'm like, oh shit. So I had to, of course, film inside my Starbucks. I couldn't not because I spend so many hours there. A few of my friends back home in New Zealand will know this because they've talked to me on IM when I've been in here. So yeah, I spend way too much time doing studying, but rather than being in my little pokey office. So that gives you an idea. Okay, so this is east of where we were taking the previous shot. That's my supermarket there on the right called Jewel. And this is my neighborhood with my street, Berwyn, that I live on. It's got my neighborhood tons of trees, as you can kind of see, which is actually the case for most of Chicago, believe it or not. This is my L stop, by the way, that I'm taking the shot from. Yeah. So this is my usual shot in the morning when I'm going into school. This is again from the L stop, but I thought it'd be a good shot to actually see the L coming in. The L is called such because it's the elevated trains. It's either abbreviated to EL or just the letter L. So this is the train coming in, and I almost get knocked over by the force of the air, as you can see. Yeah, this is my morning routine, basically. So I thought I'd include this shot here because even though I'm weaving my way through the buildings most of the time, I actually go through this gorgeous, really beautiful a park that's actually a cemetery, believe it or not, a big Catholic cemetery. But I thought I'd give you a shot of all the snow around. The L actually runs part elevated and part in the subway. So it's a bit like, well, as you think about it in America, with it traditionally being a subway. But we don't refer to it as a subway because only a small proportion actually runs underground when it's actually going through the downtown area. Although a portion is also elevated through the downtown area. But I thought I'd give you this shot just to see the beautiful parkland and that kind of thing that I do actually see on my trip to the morning. Yeah, it's actually a really nice area, surprisingly, if you think for a cemetery. But yeah, coming around the corner here is actually what I generally see in the morning in terms of just buildings and buildings and buildings. Actually, the funny thing is these buildings are actually quite a ways away from the track. Sometimes you almost feel close enough to reach out and touch them. So yeah, this is what my shot is coming in the morning, and you can actually see I'm actually stopping at this stop, which is the Sheridan stop. So yeah, this is what repeated time after time after time as it weeds its way through the buildings.
This is Sheridan.
So I thought I'd include a shot if you're actually going on the elevated train, on the L, when you're actually above ground, what it actually looks like inside. It's actually really clean, which is amazing. They recently introduced a program because everybody complained about how incredibly filthy the trains were. So this is actually way cleaner than what it traditionally has been, which I have to say I'm very, very pleased about.
Doors closing.
This is another shot in my morning, again weaving our way through the buildings, but here is Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. I just thought I'd pop that in so you can see the landmark. And here is actually the same thing, Wrigley Field in reverse. The difference is I really wanted to include this one because it's just as the evening started to come, but the train goes past. I thought there was a brilliant shot, so I thought I'd throw it in. That was totally by accident, and I have no skill regarding that. Okay, so now we're underground in the actual subway itself, and you can kind of see the darkness in the windows and that kind of stuff. I thought I'd include this as well. Notice the studious not looking at anybody's stares. You find the spot that you can look at, and studiously avoid looking anybody else in the eye whatsoever, although covertly watching everyone else at the same time. And here we go. I thought I'd include a shot of the train arriving. It's really quite loud, so I'm only going to talk up to the train getting here. But yeah, this is the train arriving on the subway. This is the Chicago stop, not my normal stop, I will say. So, yeah, here we are, University of Illinois, Chicago, where I spend way too much time and money, and my life goes by. Anyway, gorgeous shot of the downtown right outside. The previous sign said the Behavioral Sciences Building. This is more across, this is the one on Harrison Street, which is one of the major streets. Gives you an idea. Yeah, things are covered in snow. The most funky building on the face of the earth is the Behavioral Sciences Building, but we'll get into that later. Okay, other side of Behavioral Sciences Building, again with the funkiness. But am I saying gorgeous a lot? Because I'm noticing that I'm saying gorgeous a lot. Oh well, tough. I'll have to deal with that. So this is a view of the downtown from the top of the Behavioral Sciences Building, BSB. Beautiful, absolutely stunning. That's University Hall, the big tall building shaped like an obelisk. That's more of the university buildings. The really ironic thing is that even though we got this stunning view, there's no windows looking out at this from anywhere in this building. They all look in the opposite direction, and what windows we do have, they're pathetic. But yet we have a stunning view, and yet nothing. It's a travesty. Okay. So, the room that has taken up my entire life, seemingly at least. This is my office. This is where I spend too much time. Note the map of New Zealand. Books piled up on top of places, of course. Yeah, Mum, Dad, that's the map that you gave me last Christmas, so thank you very much. There's my old iMac, more books, and yeah, no windows, none, nor outside walls, I might add, at all. What I thought I'd do here is actually take a shot of the funkiness of the actual inside of the building. By the way, just about to pass the door to my office there. Corridors go off in directions that you don't expect it to. And yes, I've sped this up. I'm not running through the corridors. It'd take too long otherwise. But yeah, the corridors go off in directions that you don't expect them to. You turn a corner and you expect the corridor to go one way and it goes in the other way. And you're fairly certain that there's no actual building there. But yet there is. It's very, very strange. It's like you get lost. You'll note that when I round this corner here, well, in a little while, yeah, have a corner. Why not? You actually come back to where I started this film, and it's, yeah, people can get lost very easily. And the main office. Not particularly interesting, but I thought I'd film it anyway because I would get annoyed if I hadn't anyway. This is Amanda, about to come into shot now. She's one of the wonderful, awesome, she also teaches. She's great. She'll wave at you, there we go. New Zealand. Yeah. I'm now walking into the lecture hall that I teach in. Very utilitarian and sparse, kind of like that neo-industrial, functionalist 1960s architecture that's just hideous. But it works well, and it's actually a nice little communal type small space that I really enjoy teaching in, to be honest. I'm getting a bigger one next semester, apparently. This is the atrium, looking in the opposite direction from my lecture hall. Some of the spaces are actually quite nice. They've actually gussied this one up with like light panels and all that kind of stuff because of how awful it used to be. So this is returning to just outside my department, actually. It's to the right of that final shot when I did the whiz round. Yeah, as you can kind of see, it's a big empty space where all the offices of the section of BSB are connected. It's huge, and you can, if you go over the edge, you can fall 3 or 4 stories. Criminal justice is over on the other side, and of course sociology is on our side. This is in amongst the lectures to give you an idea of how more funky this building is. This is the stairs going down. Well, one of the set of the stairs going down. This is amongst the lecture halls. And this is more of those same stairs. And it gets weirder because then there's more of the stairs doing the same thing going down. Quite bizarre, but it's a main computer lab. And this is my stop. This is my L stop for the university. Yes, it's in the middle of an expressway. But yeah, I thought I'd do this shot just before we're going downtown. And this is Welcome to Chicago, the iconic touristy image that you get of the southern and central part of the Chicago skyline. It stretches up north from here, but that's about it. I'm standing on a land promontory that sticks out, part of what's called Museum Campus, that stretches out into Lake Michigan. But this is pretty much what you see on all the iconic tourist stuff. This Lake Michigan, that's big enough that you actually can't see the other side of it. Seriously, that just stretches out. And that's a lake. This is Daly Plaza with the City of Chicago's Christmas tree. It's famous because it's got a Picasso statue there. It's also filled with right now with Kreiskindermarket, which is a German-style market with stalls and food and knickknacks all for Christmas. It happens every year. That's CBS Studios, by the way, looking out there with the images. Here we are at State and Randolph. That's the big Macy's building there, huge Macy's building. Used to be called Marshall Fields, but now it's massive. This is the Joffrey Ballet. There's the Chicago Theatre, the very famous, iconic one. Then, of course, there were rather generic borders. Well, that's my favourite borders because it's right by the stop on the red line that I take home each night, so I can stop off and go book hunting if I want to. There's the Oriental Theatre, which it's right. This is called the Theatre District, by the way, of Chicago, or at least the old terminology used to be called that. This is Michigan Avenue. As you can kind of see the wall of buildings stretching down. This has been around here since the age of the mobsters, Al Capone, Prohibition. This was the original iconic view of what Chicago was like. This wall, the Chicago Wall, Michigan Wall. This is the original public library for Chicago there. That's now the Chicago Cultural Center. You can actually stretch, looking down, we were looking down south. This is moving around to now looking to north up Michigan Ave. Canyons of buildings. the J. Pritzker Pavilion. It's this huge avant-garde architect designed outdoor pavilion. It's pretty much during the summer, spring, and kind of early fall. Held a whole lot of free concerts. I saw the Holst Planets performed here. Amazing, just designed with sound in mind. It's utterly stunning, and it's right in amongst all the buildings of Chicago. So if I swing around here, which I think I'm about to do, you can see the buildings that it's right in amongst. It's right downtown. Oh, by the way, this building here on the right, it's like this blue building there, that's a condo. Imagine that. And here we go with the Bean. This is the Bean, otherwise known as, the official name is Cloud Gate, but all Chicagoans call it the Bean. It's a big piece of sculpture right in the middle of downtown Chicago. It's polished normally when it's not covered in snow to a high sheen, and it reflects a warped version of the entire skyline back. It's utterly stunning. It really got embraced by Chicagoans. Everybody expected it to be rejected, but it's been utterly loved. Everybody embraced it. I remember when it got erected. This is another side, and you can actually see where how the skyline reflects, all warped and gorgeous. Here we go, gorgeous again. One of the really interesting things about the Bean is that when you go underneath it, where those people have been walking, it actually goes concave, and all the multitude of reflecting surfaces produces an incredible effect of eternally reflecting stuff. It actually can kind of induce vertigo amongst some people, and I've seen kids run out. But it even does funky things to the camera, as you can kind of see. The camera can't deal with it. It's just blanking. So it's just really interesting. This is the Millennium Park skating rink, kind of modeled on the Rockefeller the Square skating rink in New York City. Admittedly, ours doesn't look quite as nice, but that generally tends to be Chicago. We're big, bold, brash, and ugly, and we're not really known for being pretty. So that's the way in which Chicago operates. But I think it's still gorgeous. Perfect winter scene in a way. Right in the downtown of Chicago. So I tried to include this shot, but in there, that moving blob in the middle there, that's actually a Zamboni, finishing off the ice for another session of skating on the same skating rink. The shot didn't come out as well as I thought it would, but it's a big Zamboni going around there. The funny thing is, there's still leaves on some of the trees, even though it's like snow on the ground. Damn Christmas music playing. The leaves still on the trees. So here's my wannabe artsy shot. This is the L tracks, bottom of the L tracks, dropping down Wabash Street. Traditional, old school 1970s Chicago image. So this is the Wrigley Building there that I'm looking at right now. Very, very famous Chicago piece of architecture. And this is the bottom of the new Trump Tower, which they're just finishing off. The old Chicago Sun-Times ugly building got demolished for it. This is the buildings lining the Chicago River. This is the Upper Wacker Drive. Very famous corncob buildings there that are about to come into focus. They're all condos, by the way. You can live downtown. Oh, by the way, the Trump Tower here on the right. So now it's the second tallest building. And this is the Chicago River, dyed green in the around St. Patrick's Day. Very famous. These are the bridges that turned up in the Batman movie, by the way. The ones that got raised and lowered to separate the slums area of it's like Gotham. This was the bridges that were raised and lowered. So, and they do. So here I'm on the bus. I thought I'd take a shot from the bus just to see how it came out. This is ABC Studios. I showed you CBS Studios before. This is ABC Studios. You can actually stand outside of it when they're filming the news and the weather, and you can be on TV. A lot of people jump up and down like idiots and wave their hands and stuff, so it's all very amusing to even watch them, particularly as a sociologist. Oh, and here's a yellow cab. There you go. Traditional American like site. The camera's about to pan up, and you can see one of the elevated stations for the L up there. That bus I was riding on took me north up here to Water Tower Place and Michigan Ave. That's another Macy's. This is Water Tower Place, named after this building here that the bus is going in front of. And this building, about to come into focus here, known as the Water Tower because it's Water Tower. But they were the only buildings really survived after the Chicago fire because they were built out of stone, and Chicago at the time was built out of wood because it was cheap. So this is the John Hancock building, the third tallest building in Chicago. The first being the Sears, second being Trump, and now John Hancock building. I've been up in that one, enough to give me vertigo, which was a surprise. This is just some of the old buildings, not in amongst all these huge high rises now that have been built around. I included this for you, Dad. Brand new Bentley sitting outside the Armani store. So this is midway up Michigan Ave, premier shopping district. I'm looking up at Ann Taylor, big stores, all the way up there. It's like Sony store, just Tower Records, that all kind of thing. If you're looking down this way, you've got the Disney store, you've got, it's just all over. The American Girl Place is here. Now this, just off to the left here, is the reason why I took the shot here, because this is the Apple store, which is my favorite place on Michigan Avenue, of course. I just go in to drool occasionally. I bought a couple of small things here, but I just love it. Anyway, so yeah, this is just downtown premier shopping district of Chicago. So now we're leaving the interior, downtown Chicago. This isn't normally the way I go home, but I thought I would include it anyway because I don't go to the shopping district every day. But it really weaves inside and out of the canyons of buildings here in Chicago when you're leaving, and I just thought it was a wonderful way to see the downtown area. It's like a lot of these buildings that it goes on and on and on. You always imagine the shots of the canyons of buildings in America that you see on TV are imaginary, but they're not. You can always spot the tourists because they're always looking up with their heads raised into the sky, and all the people that live here are just walking by with actually looking where they're going. Also here, you can actually look into people's offices if you drive by. You can see the people working in their offices. It's just really funny to do. Often they'll be looking out at you too. So when you get out of the immediate downtown of Chicago, you're now into this like the river north area. Actually, this is Old Town, just north of that. You get more residential, still apartment buildings, condos, that kind of thing. But the reason I took this shot was because this happens to be one of the most beautiful shots of the city when you're riding the L. This is actually in the opposite direction, almost perpendicular to that shot that I took standing out in Lake Michigan. It's stunning, I think, particularly on a day like this where it was bitterly cold but utterly beautiful. So now we're riding in on the expressway, freeway, coming in from the west. This is the Eisenhower Expressway, named after President Eisenhower, who created the interstate system in America. It was like, but although only the stretch of road is actually called the Eisenhower. I'm actually not too sure if any other cities have it. That's the L on the left. That's actually the branch that goes past my school, which we're actually going to do in a moment. Up here on the right is the Chicago Medical District, Rush Hospital. It actually has 4 hospitals or so there. So they're all in the one area. As you can kind of see, it's well served by public transportation. Over here on the right, you were passing, well, school bus for a start off. Yeah, classic. They're all like that. They all look like that. It's not actually a cliche. They all look like that. But anyway, the tall obelisk-like building there, just on, it's like towards the right, is my school. So this is the same expressway that you saw me standing beside when I was waiting for the L when we were leaving to go downtown previously. And yes, I know, we're on the wrong side of the road. But there we go, there's UIC. And just so you don't think it's all freewheeling like it was in the previous shot, here's the here's traffic, which Chicago has some of the record worst traffic in the nation. I think we're just behind LA or something like this for like worst traffic. But yeah, get stuck in the middle of nowhere for no reason. This, for the Batman fans out there, will be recognisable as one part of where the chase scene, where the Batmobile was in the first Batman movie. Yeah, it's speeding its way through the downtown area. This is Lower Wacker Drive. The Upper Wacker Drive is where the buildings along the Chicago River were that I filmed earlier. Yeah, you can kind of see it's very tight, and it is actually an expressway. Well, kind of. Not completely, but very high speed. This is Lakeshore Drive. You can kind of see the John Hancock building off on the left there. We're just passing it now. That gives you an idea of where we are. We've got the lake on the right-hand side and a lot of condo buildings on the left. Looking out on the lake. Again, can't see the other side. Not that you would on a day like this because it's so snowy. But yeah, there's the condo buildings. Needless to say, I can't afford a condo there. But it gives you an idea of what the actual north part of the skyline of Chicago looks like. The Chicago itself stretches a lot further north from here. This is only immediate. This is considered one of the oldest parts of Chicago. It's called the Gold Coast, and it's where a lot of historically, all the wealthy people used to live, as well as having really high, sky-high real estate values. But yeah, it's still that today. But Chicago stretches miles and miles north of this. This is coming back in the opposite direction to that previous shot. Again, you can kind of see John Hancock building in front and centre, and the Gold Coast buildings on the right. Yeah, this is, a lot of people come down this road during weekdays, and it's utterly wall-to-wall traffic. This is Saturday morning, and yeah, as you can kind of see, the traffic is a tad better. But yeah, so this is the reverse shot. This is River North. Actually, ironically, one of the newer areas of condo development in Chicago. As you can kind of see, it's just utterly, those are not apartment buildings, those are condo buildings, all brand new and popping up. You can kind of see the Trump building in the distance there. You round the corner here, it all used to be industrial buildings, and they got demolished, and now they're just it's all this is all condos. Yeah, it rounds the corner into Grant Park and Millennium Park, which is kind of like the Central Park of Chicago. Coming around the corner, you can kind of see it. There we go. Right on the lakefront. It's where the Jay Pritzker Pavilion was that I took the shot of, where the free concerts are, is located. So that gives you an idea of why people would want to build in this area. I took this shot because this is the Chicago Field Museum in the distance here, a natural history museum. It actually has a Maori meeting house from New Zealand in it. Now this is approaching Chicago from the far south. So all those previous shots had been on a bit on the north side of the city. This is approaching Chicago from the south side. As you can kind of see, you can get the Sears Tower off to the left, far left, now being covered by trees. Anyway, what's coming up here on the right is Soldier Field, home of the Chicago Bears, an American football team. At the moment, they kind of suck, but they haven't been better when I've been here. Recently, they actually renovated the entire stadium, keeping the historic outer bit that's all made out of stone with Roman colonnades and that kind of stuff, and putting us like it's almost like a UFO's landed on the top of the damn thing. Unfortunately, the place lost historic status when they rebuilt it because they were trying to retain it, but they lost it because of the design work on it. So this is Grant Park, overlooking it. You can't see it too well, but that gives you an idea of how much of like a Central Park area it is within Chicago. This is another shot from the south. We're travelling west at the moment, but you can kind of see from the south what the Sears Tower and the south bank of the Chicago River, which we're crossing now. Very industrial. This is the really industrial heart that's left of Chicago. There's not much of it, given how much manufacturing has actually moved elsewhere in America or overseas, but this was the big industrial area of Chicago, historically. So this is the last shot that I have in this. Thank you guys for watching. I thought I'd take a shot of going out of Chicago, heading west with the Sears Tower in the background, looking through the mirror. Artsy, eh? Not bad. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Now hopefully you've got a better idea of what Chicago looks like and where I've been living for the past 7 years.